Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast, a show that examines all aspects of sexuality, from physical to emotional to spiritual. Join our hosts as they discuss age-old questions, common misconceptions, and the latest topics surrounding sex. They'll tackle topics about sexuality from the complicated to the hilarious and everything in between. GSMC Sex Podcast is your show for all of your questions about sex, even some you might not have thought of yet.
Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Andra, where the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Hello there, my horny little devils, my little sex fiends. Now, I know we all want some sort of spark in our relationship, in it to be continuous, so that, the sex is longer, the chemistry is longer, intimacy is longer. But that orgasm, especially, a little bit of electricity in that, where that orgasm is sustained for a longer period of time and is felt throughout your body. Well, believe it or not, the topic today is electrosex, which is exactly that. Electricity is the charge used during your erotic pleasures. Granted, it's used with BDSM, but they are now making sex toys for the everyday couple. And we will go over some of that as well, and some other things all related to electrosex. Now, you're probably all wondering, oh my God, you probably could just shock me. However, like with everything new that you try sexually, it is try it out slowly. If it is your first time, please contact the manufacturer and ask them what is good, because they're the ones who are selling the toys, and this is exactly what is used. And we will go over some of the toys that are available, what sites, and everything electrosex. Maybe your partner wants a little bit more, or you want a little bit more. You want that added spark, literally. So you go out for electrosex, you try it out. Now, this is the use of electricity for that erotic pleasure. This is typically done using sex toys, because they have the regulated voltage and that electrical shock. Electrosex stimulates the body's nervous system, and it produces an intense sensation all over the body. The practice of electrosex, it actually originally began within the BDSM community. So if you're going to try it, yes, you are trying out a little bit of BDSM there, where it was used to enhance medical and pain play scenes. So there were particular scenes that you use it for. Then it moved on where they're actually just being sold with toys or as toys. And this, it happens that the practice is now becoming widespread, and they call them among the vanilla couples, and are those couples just looking to spice up their sex life. Simple as that. This particular form of erotic pleasure is sometimes called the erotic electrostimulation, or E-stim, or electroplay. If you go on to Kinkly, which is a website that gives you a lot of definitions of all different types of information on different sexual pleasures. And they actually explain that Electrosex gives practitioners distinctive, tingly, tickly sensations which differ greatly to the sensation achieved with common battery-powered sex toys like vibrators. It taps into the electrical signals that course through our body's nervous system, and what it does is it stimulates it to create even more powerful sensory reactions. So it makes that orgasm that much more intense. Since our bodies are mostly composed of water, it is an excellent conductor of electricity. So this is what these sex toys are based off of, and how they have that electrical current going through our bodies. So because of the water content in our bodies, it acts as an electrical conductor. This is what the sex toys, the electrical static sex toys are based on and actually utilize in our bodies. So there are a lot of high-tech sex toys that are designed for this particular thing, as I was just explaining. Some of them, but I will go into more detail later. These include the electrified butt plugs, masturbatory sleeves. So these are sleeves that go over the penis, or they have like little cages and stuff that you put the penis in, or it's just the head of the penis can be caged in one of these little contraptions, and you hook up the little electrical components, the positive and the negatives, and that's how you do it. Like I said, there's cock rings, eggs, the Kegel balls even come under this particular type of. There's some that have been modified to also do this, and we all know what the Kegel balls are. And what they do is for the woman to insert into her vagina to strengthen her pelvic floor and walls of the uterus and all that good stuff. So add a little bit of an electrical shock. I know a lot of you are saying electrical shock. Yes, there is. I mean, if you have a nerve problem, I'm sure that your doctor has prescribed for you physical therapy with a TENS machine, which is exactly basically based the basis of this in the toys. It's that TENS, which is a little electrical shocks that kind of trigger the muscle in your body to actually work. It's stimulating to get it to work again. I mean, there are G-spot probes, nipple clamps. They even have kits, which are E-stim kits. They have, that's, the positive and negative electrodes. And they also come with sticky pads. Either way you want to do it. And obviously the electrodes also attach to the sticky pads. You also, if you want a particular area, you can put the pads down by, right outside of the vagina, the labia, like on the bottom of a female in slightly up her inner thigh, which will send the sensation right in there, right into the vagina. So, and this is where you can put it basically where you want that electrical circuit or current to go. So, you can, by using these kits, you literally become you're the sex toy is how they're looking at it now. You become the sex toy. And kind of weird way of looking at it, but it is using our skins as the conductor to transmit electrical sensations. And that is to the partner. So, there's an electrified urethral sounds, and what it does, it transmits electrical currents inside the penis, and that is an option. But if you're already into inserting a prong into the urethra of the penis, right into the tip of the hole, then adding this on and trying it out might not be a problem for you. So, go ahead and try it. And they are becoming more and more complex. They are working. These toys are really more made out of like metal so that they can keep the conduction and everything. So it's really, to go and look at them, and I will give you some websites later on where you can look these up and maybe try them. Because I'm going to go through a guide, the beginner's guide to Electrosex and the toys. And that's what we will talk about next. But originally, because of the way they were made, they were pretty scary, to say the least, to look at and say, oh my goodness, I'm not going to stick that up my butt, or I'm not going to stick that in my vagina, or whatever the case may be. But manufacturers are now trying to make them a little less intimidating to work with, so they're much more pleasing and want to be used. And they have now moved on to more user-friendly silicone e-stem kits. So these are for those people, they're making them much better. Whereas instead of going out and you're looking like you're getting two probes and you see the electrical shock go across, they are changing them so they don't look so scary. Almost like a Frankenstein movie. Yeah, they're trying not to make it that way anymore. So they're making them look much better, put it that way, no matter. More appetizing, more you want to try it because you're looking at it. Oh, that's a nice dildo. Let's try it. Oh, and it's got an added feature of an electrical current. Well, go for it. Some people are like bypassing the commercial options, and they're just adapting their existing sex toys to the Electrosex, where they're using conductive metallic tape. Same concept. Electrical current going through metal. Our body's water content is conducive to it. They also have lubricants, and this is to help the skin from becoming tender and make it more sensitive to electroplay. Use a water-based lubricant for internal attachments, and electroconductive gel for toys used externally. Please, if we are going to do this and try it, please do it correctly. You are working with one of nature's wonders, electricity. And I don't know how many of you have been struck by lightning. I know I haven't and don't want to, but I'm assured from time to time you've gotten a zap off of the electrical socket. Not one you were looking for, but you got it. And that's probably how this works. Most likely that is how it works. Probably not at that high frequency, and you probably graduate up to a higher frequency. Again, you are working with an electrical current, please be safe. Please educate yourself about it. Communicate it with your partner. And, as always, ask for consent. Do not use silicone lube because it may degrade the toys and it also decreases the conductivity that you are trying to get. Believe it or not, yes, this sounds extremely dangerous, electrosex, but there has been anecdotal evidence that suggests it is not painful or risky when the right precautions are taken. Remember, educate, communicate, and consent. Do go out slowly. Start with low currents. And then, maybe the first try is going to be on the lowest. If you don't feel anything, you can, which is something that the vagina does. You can go out and get seriously textured rubbers. You can get textured dildos. As women, our vagina doesn't even feel the difference. It feels bigger or smaller, but unfortunately, our vagina has a mind of its own. And you should always clean the leads, everything, like with every other toy. That is the end of my first segment. So we are going to take a break here. Please get a snack, get a drink, come back, get relaxed, and I will meet you back here to continue our discussion on Electrosex with Andra.
Still on the search of that one true love? On the limbo in this crazy world of dating, marriage, relationships? Well, listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Relationship Podcast, your one-stop podcast for everything about relationships.
Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Andra, with a topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Now we are continuing on with our topic of electrosex. Not a new concept. However, it is coming out a lot more. It is becoming increasingly popular with men, women, and couples. It has been around basically, actually erotic electrostimulation devices have been around since around the 1700s. So it has been here. And this was long before vibrators or any other battery-powered sex toys. And even before they even made these battery-operated sex toys went onto the market. However, as things have come on and grown as does technology, so hasn't the design. And they're more stylish, safer, and a lot more fun, as a lot of us have already experienced. Again, you know that erotic electrostimulation, or EES, E-stim, electrosex, is the practice of using an electrical current for sexual stimulation. It sounds really, really like, oh my God, I can see what electricity can do. That's, too scary. But it actually is considered very, very safe if you become educated and have the right equipment. And it's incredibly pleasurable. So do look into it. This is one of the websites that is out there, which is Electrosim.com. And it actually, put it in Google, look it up. They've been selling these for a while now. So, how does it work? Well, let's go back over that. Electrostimulation, it passes a low voltage of current through your body to stimulate your erogenous zones. If I could just get the words out today, it might help me. But the erogenous zones, powered like, the TENS machines for muscle pains. This is the same idea. And if you are using one of those, I'm assured that you'll be okay using one of these. The doctor would not have told you to use it if he didn't feel that your body was not getting a benefit from it. So why not get a pleasurable one? The mild electrical current. Now there are different levels and frequencies, but let's start out low and very basic. Because the mild electrical current, it sensitizes. I spelled it with an S. So it sensitizes your body to improve your erotic response, and it's by gently, shocking the sensitive nerve endings. Now we've all gotten that. Our body has water in it, so it's using that as a conductor. It makes your nerves more alert as your body is heightened its response to touch. So that little bit of, like, you ever have somebody come up from behind you and touch you and you go, ooh, I just got a chilly willy, or, I just got this chill feeling that went through my body. You're heightened. You're heightened by touch. You're going to feel more sexual pleasure than usual. And during masturbation, foreplay, and sex, because that is the whole idea of this. With these mild currents that you are putting through your body to heighten those senses and tingle those nerves, you are also, these little currents are also encouraging increased blood flow to the areas that are surrounding the electrode. So wherever you put those electrodes or wherever you're touching, it's increasing that blood flow, which is a positive thing in sex because we want a very good blood flow to our genitals. That's where we have the little dancing penis and the mouth-watering vagina. And it also, it escalates the physical signs of sexual arousal. So, can it be painful? Yes. If you go in there thinking, oh my God, I can do this, I've been shocked before, obviously, you're going to get hurt. You are seriously going to get hurt. The power levels with these sex toys and through electrosex, they do vary in intensity. Obviously, the lower levels feels like a little vibration, like tickle. And then it's your body, your muscles are throbbing because of the contractions. So you're going to get that little feeling because has anybody ever gone for an EEG, whereas they do the electrodes on your muscles if you have a nerve problem. Same concept. Now, this throbbing becomes more intense at higher the levels of the shock, and that tickle also develops into a prickle, and it will start feeling like little pins and needles. So you don't want to go from low to high too quick of a change. You can really hurt your partner. The whole aim of it is to create a pleasurable contraction. And this is centered on your erotic muscles. You don't want to, go too fast. And you always do it at one level at a time. Remember, if you're a beginner at this, these are geared towards you. If you've tried it before, then you're got a little bit of sense of where you want to be and what you want to do and how you want to go about using your sex toys. And you've probably gone out and already upgraded. This electrical current in your toy, or the wand, or your butt plug, or your nipple, clamps, penis, cage, whatever you plan to use, your dildo, it stimulates at a deeper level than vibrations, so that erotic sensations are more intense, and you can really watch your partner just going to town on this. This electrical current, it can induce an orgasm without even needing any further stimulation. So the whole idea with that is you could just use that. Your partner can watch you and you can, have one hell of an orgasm without even it could just be in the foreplay. Before even starting, you're using small shocks in the beginning. That can induce that orgasm and make it intense. At that point, if you're in the middle of it, your partner can maybe turn it up a little, and just very, very little, not a lot, to intensify that orgasm. A lot of this, remember, the prostate, penis, the clitoral shaft, or the vagina, all of these lovely things are where you usually stimulate your partner stimulates you, and in masturbation you stimulate yourself to get that ultimate orgasm. So imagine having to bypass that and just use that electrical current that you're trying to get your body to produce, and it's being induced. So you don't need to really go through all that. And it's generally, they actually have a name for it, which is the hands-free orgasm, or the HFO, hands-free orgasm. So now, to get started, to experiment with electroplay, you need an electro stimulator, and either one bipolar or two unipolar electrodes. So, hence, you need the electrodes in the sex toy. Okay? Which houses the electrostimulator. Read the product's description, your sex toy's description, or make sure that you know if it is bipolar or unipolar. Majority of the electroplay kits, the E-stim kits, come with a set of conductive pads, and this is how you can start out with experimenting through external stimulation in couples play. And this is without buying additional electrodes, because if you get that, I think you can just start out with that, and then later on go back, because you already have the electrodes, you have the stimulator piece that's controlling it. You can just get a sex toy that actually works with it, and you can start to increase toys, how many toys that you have, trying different ones. But if you're feeling daring, and you and your partner understand that educating yourself and then communicating everything with each other and having a safe word, and having that lovely consent, and you want to do it that way, go for it. For the most part, trying it on yourself first through masturbation might be where you start out at, because you know what you're applying this to yourself. You're going to find where, what, how these small electrical currents are going to get you off the most. How close to your vagina, inside your vagina, outside your vagina, in your anal cavity, outside of your anal cavity. These are the things you know, on your nipples, off your nipples, how low you want to go with it, and you can intensify it up on your own body. Just like with a TENS machine. The doctor will tell you, have it on the low setting and gradually increase the dosage, the current. Same here. We do not want you to hurt yourself. There are different kinds of kits, and there are many numbers of Electrosex toys, which are going to be customizable to you. So that's the whole idea, is to make sure that you get something that's going to work for you and with you. Try it on yourself first, by yourself. You could talk to your partners, both can try it out on yourselves, and then when you see how they work on yourselves, bring them together. Share the toys. The more the merrier. What is the difference between an electrostim stimulator and a TENS machine, you ask? Well, now, the electrostim stimulators are especially programmed for intimate stimulation. So they're better at being used for that erotic sensation than just a regular TENS device. Because the TENS device is actually given to you to actually target a muscle. So the stimulation there, although can be used, e-stim toys and things like that are more geared towards those erogenous zones, where the TENS device is not specific to any one muscle. So they'll give it to you, you use it on whatever muscle they tell you to use it on. Now, if you want to be brave and wrap it around your penis, well, I'd really think about that first, because it is not programmed for it. But along the way of the same concept, just not the same outcome per se, and you don't want to fry them. TENS machines there are a variety of electrodes that are available for them, but they are very limited, and the range in electrostimulation stimulators and electrodes is actually growing. So there's, like I said, the TENS machine, your doctor gives it to you for one particular purpose. The e-stim, that's for something specific and can vary. Remember that. And with that, we are going to go to our second break here in the show. So replenish your drink, replenish your snack, come back, relax, and I will meet you back here for more Sex Talk with Andra, where the topic is Electrosex.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am still your host, Andra, with a topic about sex. It's from the point of view of an older woman. Now, we are talking about electrosex, that electrical current that you're going to produce through a little machine, stimulator, to shock those erogenous zones, those little nerves and muscles in there, to get that ultimate erotic pleasure out of yourself and your partner. And we were going over the beginner's guide to this. Obviously, if you've tried this before, you are not a beginner. However, please things away from it. Haha. So here are some don'ts when you use an E-stim sex toy. Never use the electrodes above the waist. Of course, unless the packaging tells you to. But do not use it above the waist. Or the majority of simulators out there in the electrodes, they're all designed to be worn below the waist. Okay, this is where their focus is on those erogenous zones. So please don't get brave and try it on the top above your waist. Remember, your heart is there, and if you never had a heart problem before, you might just shock it into one. Doesn't matter how much the electrical current. So remember that, please. Below the waist, people. They are designed that way. So, like that nipple play with electrodes, don't do it. Unless you're ready to have the ambulance sitting outside your door to be called. Simple as that. Never use simulators and electrodes in or around water. Yes, it is using our water content in our bodies as a conductor. Add outside to it. Well, you've gone just a little bit too far with that. Obviously, electrical currents and water do not mix and shouldn't mix, so don't do it. If it's a little water and you do it and it's inadvertently done, you're not going to seriously hurt yourself, but you will break the stimulator. So remember that there are two ways of doing that. And if you're going to put money into this play, you need to know that you're not going to continue to fork out a ton of money because you're breaking, E-stim kits. Using lubricants and conductive gels with the electrodes, just like what they do when they put you in for an ultrasound. Those gels are conductive. You can use those with the electrodes, but always, you should avoid getting any moisture. Like I said, if you get anything on them, just be really careful. Bottom line is here, you are playing with electricity. Simple, plain, and true. Always check your electrodes, your stimulators, and your cables for damage. Obviously, like with other wires or connective pieces, you can get a wear in them and they can become damaged. And what do? You get a piece of electrical tape. You might not want to do that in this. You shouldn't do it in that situation, but definitely not in this situation. If you damage them, don't use them. The most likely parts to get damaged are those connecting wires or the charging wires, but these can be replaced. So don't try and be brave. Don't try and be a fix-it or a DIY. Just reach out to the manufacturer. Replace the electrodes, okay? They'll either, whoever you bought them from, will most likely take them back in, because to them, you returning those, they can find out either one, was it the production of it, or is that a flaw in all of them? Almost like a recall on a car. You won't play with that, so don't play with this, especially if you're putting this right onto your body. You don't want to do that. And most manufacturers will repair or replace them. Remember that. They want to know if there is an issue so they can make their things better, their sex toys better for you for Electrosex. Okay? They do come with warranties, so they'll just do it for free. Remember that. You should not use any Electrosex device in these situations. And I think I touched on one already, which is if you suffer from any form of heart condition. Even the little ones. Remember, electroshock going through your body. Your heart is a muscle. Your heart is pumping. It's got these electrodes that are going through them too. So you're going to screw up the rhythm in that and might not be a positive. Don't use them if you have inflamed, swollen, or broken skin where you wish to put the electrodes. Just like, don't put salt in an open wound. Come on. Don't put these here either. Not good. Don't use them if you're pregnant. You do not know what the detrimental effects will be on your baby. You might just do some serious damage there, so remember that. 2, if you are fitted with any form of mechanical medical device, and we all know what these are, one right off the top of the list is a pacemaker. You won't go past the microwave. Why would you use it here? Same issues. If you suffer from any form of penile, vaginal, or anal disorder or infections, don't use it. Do not use it. Again, don't feel brave. That's not what this is about. These are all about having fun, enhancing that erogenous zone and getting that, that orgasm. This is what this is about. We're not here to hurt anybody. You get those joy seekers out there. Don't do it. Do not do it. Okay? This is not something to play around with. You are playing with real electricity into your body, which you are self-administering. So remember all this. So, with that little bit of a beginner's guide and a do and don't, very, very important to remember all of this. Is this our freaky future? At the rate it's going, yes. Yes, it is. So remember that. I would, a long time ago, you didn't hear about this. Everybody's afraid of electricity. Nowadays, you're really tipping the scales when it comes to sexual pleasure and how far you're going to go to get it. going into this, the first thing anybody should think about is, like I said earlier, that if you had a plug by accident or you're fixing batteries in something and you got that little jolt of electricity, it is that's probably more of an electrical shock going through you, and it's not regulated. That, yes, you lived from it, but now you are going into the forbidden zone with it. And although our outcome is the same with getting that, intensified orgasm, or even the mere initial little shock of it that sent you right into the immediate orgasm, it is still the same. You're not going to, let's take it easy here, people. Have fun. Do have fun. But remember, you are playing with electricity, but this is our future. As time goes on, as with Electrosex, remember, this started in the 1700s. Now we're in, 2020. We've come a long way. A very, very long way. The toys for Electrosex or electroplay have developed and grown technologically in all. This is where this is going. So you're going beyond the lubes, the toys, the costumes, and now we're, our future's moving into that sensory level. What are we teaching our kids in school? To calm down, or even at home, with sensory. So this is what Electrosex is, electroplay, all of it. It's building that sensory level, and it's by throwing electricity into the mix. This is high-tech play, and it's very, very popular. A lot of people like to hear it, something, and say, ooh, I want to try that. Yes, that's well and good. But with everything, remember to educate, communicate, and consent. You have gadgets, toys, and ticklers that, the electricity comes in and are upgraded now. And they're probably working on the next level in eSTEM. So here, with eSTEM, there's a huge range. There are electrified butt plugs, cock rings, and masturbatory sleeves, like I had told earlier. And these are for all ages, because, they're experimenting. Just make sure, just hope that they are doing it properly. There are the eggs, the G-Spot Pros, the Kegel balls, everything. And this is where this is going. We've grown almost like we are Frankenstein and Frankenstein's bride. It is a pair, an electric pair. Think about it. How did Frankenstein get his monster to come alive? Through electricity. How are we gonna make that one heck of an orgasm? Through electricity. Electricity. Yep. It's being played in our school songs, although old school songs. And for those of you who know and actually know where that comes from. So, vibrators have been, now, people are now, this whole thing with this electroplay, electrosex, these people sat down, and this is why it's going even further and further and further. It's because they started tapping into our natural biological currents. and how it works. And 10 to 1, somebody probably sat there one day, was given a tens machine, got off on it, and I said, well, you know something? I'm going to make sex toys out of this. It has been around for a very, very long time, but it has not been out on the market or out in the bedroom until like now, and as it's growing on. BDSM is developing and growing. This is just a portion of it, so you can pick how far you want to go in with this, how far, because this is just one piece of it. If you are into the BDSM completely, then you already want or are already trying this out. But now I'm just going to give you some toys that are out there. Now, one of the biggest toy Electrosex toy companies is Electrostim, and they specialize in these. So it's funny because when looking into this, if you go onto their website, they give you a diagram of how a vibrator works in comparison to the Electro toy. And you can see the differences. It's a little cartoon piece, but it's there. And on that note, I'm going to take a break. The last break of my show. So completely up to you if you want to go and get replenish your drink, replenish your snack. It's completely up to you. But do stay completely relaxed as we end out the show with more Electrosex and Electroplay, and going over some websites where you can buy some and the toys that are out there. So meet me back here for more sex talk with Andra.
Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? The GSMC America Still Beautiful podcast is a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts America Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today. Download the GSMC America Still Beautiful podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Andra, where the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Welcome back to our topic on Electrosex, or Electroplay, where we're basically shocking ourselves into that electrified erotic pleasure. Yes, you are using electrical currents, for those of you who have just tuned in. However, this is the last portion of my show, and as promised, I am going to go over the A to Z of electrostimulation toys. There are, now, if you go on to melroseurbanfemale.com, they have a pile of the toys just laid out, and and the manufacturers to which you can get them. There is one big one that is out there who specializes in Electrosex or electrostimulation e-stim kits, which is Electrostim, and they are on this list. So let's get this party started with e-stim toys. First one, Arcana Electro Vibe Wand. It is what it is. It is a vibrator. It's not a dildo. It is a vibrator. And this is by Zeus Electrosex. That is another website for you to go on to. Now, the next one is e-stim Impulse Conductive Gel. Very, very important that you use this or lubrication specifically for this, because this way we don't electrocute ourselves. And this one is through California Exotic. Now there is an e-stim Palm Power Box. That is also by Zeus Electrosex. And it comes, just looking at it, it almost looks like a blood sugar testing piece with electrical pads that you attach. So that's exactly what it looks like. Hence the palm. Electrostim Conductive Gel. And this is Electrostim's product. So we're going into the products that they produce for Electrosex. Next one is their Electrostim Flick Electrosex Multi-Pack. It comes with the stimulator, a butt plug, the electrodes, the conductive gel. It's pretty packed. Now they have one for also same title but motion control kit. Comes with a little bit less, focusing on that motion and everything like that. Now work it on to the G-Spot probe by Electrostim, which is the Nona Silicon Neo Electrosex G-Spot probe. And this one actually could probably be used in the vagina or as a butt plug, because that's exactly what it looks like. Size is not on my side with this, because I can't differentiate by it. So just go on and look for yourself. The sizes and the measurements and everything will be on the website. Going on to the Electrosex gel called Fetish. Fitting. Now we go on to another manufacturer, which is Pipe Dream. And they make the Fetish Fantasy Shock Therapy Kit. So we know where the gel comes from. We're back at California Erotic or Exotic with the Impulse Intimate E-Stimulator Wand, which is put either into the anal cavity or the vagina. Another one by them is the Impulse Intimate E-Stimulator Rabbit Vibrator. It is what it sounds like. Yes, we do have a rabbit vibrator. They have an E-Stim vibrator, which is also the rabbit. They also make the Impulse Intimate E-Stimulator Remote Kegel Exercises, which is what you insert into your vagina. You can give small electrical jolts, which helps with strengthening that pelvic wall and all those muscles. Make it a little tighter for your partner. Now, another manufacturer of lovely Electrosex toys is Femme Fun. And they've come out with an Alone Electro Wand. It is a vibrator, not a dildo, a vibrator massager with a little added kick. Back to our lovely Electra Stim, and they have come out with their own version of the Kegel balls for Electrosex, and they are the Neo Luna Electrosex Jiggle Kegel balls. There are two. It looks like a giant figure 8. Pipe Dream is back on this list with the Shock Therapy Cock Cage. So obviously it is for the penis. It's wrapped around the penis, fitted on, and it has a little remote control where the electrical shocks are provided or controlled from. They also have the Shock Therapy nipple clamps. Okay. These, I know in the last segment, the biggest thing that Electra Stim actually, states in the beginner guide is not to use anything above the waist. These are particularly made for the nipple clamps, but I still have an issue with the fact that being used above the waist, please use it sparingly. Especially, most of these toys are pretty much on the higher price end because of what they do and what they are capable of. So remember that. If you're going to put the money out, please take it a little easy. Pipe Dream also has come out with the Shock Therapy Pleasure Probe, which is a butt plug. Zeus Electrosex has the Zeus Deluxe Edition Twilight Wand. And this is a little device that has interchangeable pieces on the top that are like when they're attached and you put it to your partner, it is targeted for that particular spot right there. Going on with Zeus Electrosex, they also have the Silver Bullet, also an anal plug or an anal cavity electrode. The Twilight Wand. So they have two of them. They have one of the different models. So obviously they have to give you some sort of, what's it called? Variety? So that's what this is. The first one comes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one comes with, okay, so the first one comes with 6 attachments. This one comes with only 5 attachments. Next one on Zeus Electrosex's list of electroplay devices is the Beginner's Power Kit. It comes with clamps, the pads with the electrodes, and the little box that controls the electrical. Zeus Handheld 8-mode digital Electro Stim Power Box has 8 modes. Remember, always start low, work your way up. Do not start at 8 and go back down. Haha, very good. Zeus Insight Electrosex Conductive Gel. So they do produce their own conductive gel, as does everybody who is making Electrosex toys. They also have the Mingle 4-piece silicone Electro Couples Kit. Very, very interesting there. So they're starting to move out into the couples realm, and which is a very, very good thing to do, because at one point in time you're going to want to do it with your partner, which is always nice. So moving on to the another manufacturer who produces Electrosex gear, and this is ExtremeRestraints.com. And they seem to be very, very popular because a lot of their items are sold out. So they have the Folsom PSG 202 box, which is the current box, and the controller, which looks very high tech, like a sound system control, like an equalizer. I'd be afraid just to look at that. They have the Jump Me Beginner Electrosex kit, which comes with a butt plug, the controller, and the gel. They have a 7-piece Twilight wand accessory. They have wrist cuffs, which also produce electrical currents. So, interesting enough. They have the Jolt Electro Puppy Trainer shock collar. So this is for humans, not your dogs. Yes, there is one which is the electric fence, whereas if your dog goes to a certain point, their collar gives them a small shock. I'm sure the same concept is with this collar, but for humans. Remember that. Don't go put on the dog's collar. It's not a pretty sight. They have the Fuse Strap-On Electro-Stim Harnessed Dildo for the ladies, or for the men if you want double the pleasure there. They have an Extreme Twilight Round Silicone E-Stim attachment that goes onto the wand. They have the 3.0 Electro Kit, which is for the man. It is attached around the scrotum and the penis, and your partner controls the electrical shock. There's a lot of these penis pads and electro kits like that are out there that they sell, which is really, really good. They even carry the adapters and everything if you need it. They have the different a remote shock puppy trainer, so wherever you are, you can be shocked by your partner in another place, I guess. They have the Zinger Rippled E-Stim Silicone Plug. Yeah, butt plug. They have the Lockdown E-Stim Male Chastity Cage. Bomb Shock E-Stim Silicone Anal Plug. The Deluxe Humbler for the man, which is what goes around your the electrodes go around your scrotum and your penis from behind. And you have the TENS Pad 4-pack for the female. There are like little ones they can use, electrical Wartenberg wheel esteem, and it looks like a little, the stirrups on cowboy boots, the spurs. That's what it looks like, but it's a little one. They have they actually carry the Zeus Electro Penis sheath, which is a one piece that goes around the penis, and you tie it to be secure around it and attach the electrodes. They have Electro Anchor E-Stim Vibrating Anal Plug. I would presume that this closes before you put it in, and then you can expand it once it is in your anal cavity. I wouldn't put it in before doing that. A lot of anal plugs from them. So these are really, they have a body like Twilight wand adapter. Like I said, there are a lot of things out there. They have a lot of strap-on dildos for the ladies or for the man, one of the other. They have a very wide variety of toys that they do sell. A lot of them have to do with like chastity cage for the penis, They also have one for it's called the Possessor Electro Scrotum Pouch, so you know what goes on there and how you're shocking it. There is the Vigor Corona E-Stem Urethral insert, and it has a power box that goes with that as well. They also have a little flogger that you can use, a lot of anal plugs, penis rings, and things like that. They have one for the woman where you just attach it to the labia. So there is a lot that you can do with these, and a lot of variety in the sex toy. A lot with the urethra for the inserts for the man and things like that. Butt plugs for the females and things. They even have a ball press. So remember there's a lot of things out there. There are actually even Awaken Electro Stimulation gloves where the little electrode goes through your hands as you run your hands down your partner's body. So this is a really good site, as well as Electrostim. So do check them out. Zeus as well. I am at the end of the show, and I thank you again for, tuning in to the GSMC Sex Podcast, which is brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. As always, practice safe sex. If not for your partner, for yourself, and vice versa. Before starting anything new, please educate, communicate, and have consent. As always, I will ask, please subscribe to the show, as well as if there is something that you want discussed on the show, please, we are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Do find us there and follow us. So always have fun all around, and definitely sexually, and have an awesome sex night.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of our shows from the GSMC Podcast Network. From sex and relationships to health and wellness, life and happiness, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast.